Here's the thing. If you're not indoctrinating your own children, somebody else is.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I think the whole graduated rating system where kids, I guess it's like every time I pass a certain age, regardless of my maturity and my parents' thought process, I can graduate to the next level of watching. Whereas I think most parents just allow that rating system to babysit their children on what they're watching. Whereas parents really should take more of an approach of an active viewing. Like, okay, if I'm going to let my kids watch this, I should watch it first and then make a decision based on my own morals and faith, whether they should watch it. Now, every parent's going to view this differently. Every kid's going to view it differently. And we have to make decisions based on that approach.
See, this is one of those things where I don't believe in guidance less viewing, as he describes, but I do believe, and I don't believe in like saying they shouldn't just watch this thing because I don't necessarily approve of whatever it is. I'm kind of the mindset that you shouldn't shelter completely. You should let them see it, but in a way where you do provide guidance to help understand what they've
at
seen.
An age appropriate level, though.
Yes.
Like you're not gonna show, let's put it this way. I'm not gonna watch Game of Thrones again, but I would never allow a child under the age of 18 to watch that without
I completely agree. I'm just saying, well, then again, I don't think all kids are the same maturity wise.
Well, that's why every parent has to take an approach to their child that's individualized.
Yeah. No, I'm making a point that
like one kid might be ready to watch Lord of the Rings at 12 and another kid might be ready at, I don't know, 14. Who knows?
You could watch it at 8. I don't know your time.
I disagree with you on
that. Dude.
I'm just saying, like, maybe a bad example, but every child needs an individualized approach based on where they're at and how you view them as a parent. You have to take an individualized approach to the children.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get the impression though that he's necessarily taking that view in this. So that's us discussing.
Now, here's what I would say though. There are some films that I just flat out won't watch, and I wouldn't recommend them for my kids to watch. And I think that's what he's pointing out is like letting the R rating approve or disapprove a movie is lazy parenting, and they shouldn't be doing that.
I mean, so I'll say this though. I'll be completely honest. I do think in a lot of things, I do think that, especially with the R rating system, I think a lot of Christians have been way too sheltering of kids prior to them going off to college. And I think that has been to the detriment of many. When they go from 0 to 100,
if you don't give a good defense for your children, they will run off to college and become, the opposite of what you want them to be.
Yes.
Because they'll be experiencing everything for the first time and they'll be highly influenced by the new ideas they didn't have as a child.
And that's where I think movies and art, just media in general, can be a useful tool to discuss those topics. Even though it might make you uncomfortable, I think it's important to use that as a tool still because of that. Just because they're going to go out there and experience the world, and it's better for them to have had some exposure to it than to have had none, especially when you're not there to provide the sounding board.
I could see the guided exposure that it seems like you're describing as potentially beneficial. Yeah. But like I'm saying, you need to prepare your kids in a defensive manner so that they retain the ideals going in. Like, here's the thing. If you're not indoctrinating your own children, somebody else is.
Yeah. I mean,
you want them to be indoctrinated in the correct belief system that you value in order that they are protected as adults.
Let me use an example here. All right. You don't want your kid to go do heroin, right?
Right.
So what's the best way to prevent your kid from doing heroin? Is it to act like heroin does not exist and hide it from your kid forever and ever and ever? Or should you show them what heroin does to people?
Or even just general addiction.
Or general addiction. Like, is it better to showcase that to them in like informative, like a documentary or something? Like, it's way better to expose them to these are the harsh realities of the risks Otherwise, the first
At
time
an
someone,
appropriate age.
yes, yes, that's an assumption here.
Okay.
Otherwise, the first time someone offers them heroin, they're not going to know what the hell it is.
Hopefully they like. I would hope that just based on the fact that they're like, "Hey, do this needle," your kid would be like at least a little apprehensive. Like maybe not.
I don't know, man. Enough people do that shit that it's you
All right.
think, but
I think we've made our point on this one. Let's move on to the next one.